Your love is contagious. I'm infected by stress, infected by this care for me. There's no cure for what I'm feeling inside. I spread this love to every soul inside. Your love is contagious. I'm infected by stress, infected by this care for me. There's no cure for what I'm feeling inside. I spread this love to every soul inside. The world is in a mad rage. They frightened by this crisis. A lot of people scared for their lives. The rating of the news is at an all-time high. They tell us not to fear, but fear is all they got. So I'm hoping I can give them peace, a peace of mind, to give them what they really need, the love of Christ. I can't help it, it's contagious, so I gotta spread it. It won't let me hold my peace, so I gotta say it. Yeah, ain't no worries, it won't kill you, but it gives you life. It'll wipe away your fears, make you feel alright.
Hello, hello, hello. It's so good to be here. It's Alpha Night. Here we go again. I see you coming on. It's exciting. Wow. Welcome to Alpha Night. Yes. It's so exciting to see you here again. Wow. Good to see you. Oh, I see your faces coming on in. Yes, yes, yes. Looking good, looking good. I am excited. Wow. So good to see you. Hello, hello, hello. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Alpha Night. This is our first Alpha Night for the spring, and we can't wait. We cannot wait to have you to be on this journey with us every single Thursday at 7 o'clock. Wow, we are excited about it, and we welcome you to this space. Some of you may say, well, what is Alpha? Well, it's a place where you can bring your questions. It's a place where you can ask in a non-judgmental environment. Maybe those questions that you've been thinking about for a really long time, but you never had anyone to just present them to. They could be all kinds of questions, but at Alpha, you get to explore life's big questions around faith and also to engage in community with a group of people who are always doing the exact same thing, bringing their questions and exploring too. So welcome to Alpha. Welcome to this experience. And as you are joining us, whether it's on Facebook Live, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's on Twitter, you are in for a treat. We always come to this experience with an opportunity to listen to what we call an Alpha Talk. And with the Alpha Talk, we just hear someone's opinion about some things that are related to faith, and then you move into a space of small groups where you get to explore what you think about that, what questions you have, and then go from there in a non-judgmental environment. So we're really excited about this very first Alpha on tonight, and you still have time to join us. You can go to alphamemphis.org and get an opportunity to sign up and come into the breakout rooms with us. But for now, we're going to jump into the Alpha Talk that is for tonight. And the title of it is There More to Life Than This? Wow, you're going to enjoy it, and we're really excited. And so we'll see you after the Alpha Talk. Welcome again. We hope you enjoy this time together.
Welcome to Alpha. Thank you for coming through. I want to first congratulate you for coming here, because I think one of the hardest things for you to do is for you to leave your comfort zone and come to something like this, especially if it's at a church or a place where a bunch of people are talking about Jesus. I feel you. I grew up in church. I get it. Trust me. You see, for me, a guy who grew up in church, there was something about church that just felt disingenuous. You see, I was a pastor's kid. Growing up, they called us PKs. And as a PK, I had the privilege of seeing what people were like behind closed doors, not to mention the veneers and the facades that they would bring with them on Sunday mornings. All of it just seemed fake And so I planned my exit. You see, growing up a PK automatically meant that you were a musician. I didn't just play music, I love music. I would listen to everything from rock to jazz to salsa, all of it except for country. But it was when a friend of mine from high school gave me a West Side Connection tape, my life was changed. I remember when Bow Down came on and Ice Cube came in, my mind was blown. I got into East Coast rap, West Coast rap. I got entrenched in the culture and the beef. I won't forget the first time I played Juicy in a Honda Civic with two 18s in the back rattling. It was magical. Now, if you fast forward, I discovered a music production program. It was called Fruity Loops, and then the rest of it was history. I learned how to make music I loved to listen to, but I wanted more. I remember when I started making some money, I took that check, bought myself a Dodge Magnum, but then I wanted more. So I got rims, 22-inch rims, but then I wanted more, and so I hustled. I got the Magnum, brought it back, got the Porsche truck, and then I wanted more. You know what? Maybe it was the degree. Yeah, that's it. I needed to get the degree, so I got that. I went and got my bachelor's in mathematics, physics, and economics, but then I needed more. So I got my master's degree, then my PhD, but then there has to be more, right? You know what? Maybe it's the girl. That's it. I need to get the girl, so I got the lady. Yeah, she's good and all, but is there more? You see, is there more to life than this? I think it's easy to get to the next stages of life or to get to whatever it is that you dream of getting to, and then to think, is this it? Or there's got to be more to life than this. Bernard Levin, who was one of the great columnists of the last century, he wasn't a Christian, so much so that one time he wrote, for the 14,000th time, I am not a Christian. But this is what he wrote. He said, countries like ours are full of people who have all the material comforts they desire, together with such non-material blessings as a happy life, and yet lead lives of desperation, understanding nothing but the fact that there's a hole inside of them, and however much food and drink they pour into it, however many motor cars and television sets they stuff it with, however many well-balanced children and loyal friends they parade around the edges of it, it aches. Russell Brand, the comedian, said, drugs and alcohol are not my problem. Reality is my problem. Drugs and alcohol are just my solution to help me fill up the hole that is inside of me. You see, what was really going on with me was there was this kind of hole, this sort of spiritual hunger that I had inside. So when Jesus said, I am the bread of life, he was using a metaphor. He was saying, I'm the one who satisfies your spiritual hunger. He's saying, I'm the one. I am the food that sticks to your ribs. You know that food that sticks to your ribs, right? Like that old school saying that we still use today. It's that food that gives you the itis. You know, when you eat it, you're good. It's not like that food that you eat where you get hungry almost right after you eat it. You know, like that bag of chips or that honey bun. Like it gets you right in the moment, but then afterwards you're afflicted with hunger again. No, it's not like that. It's a lot like those things that Bernard Levin was talking about, you know, those good things. Maybe it's the possessions and maybe it's the relationships, all that kind of stuff. But when you eat the food that sticks to your ribs, it knocks you right out. Like you're good for the rest of the day. You feel satisfied. It's like the rice and the beans. It's the grits. It's the cornmeal. It's the maï moulin. And that's what Jesus is saying. He's saying, I'm the rice of life. I'm the maï moulin of rice that sticks to your ribs. Jesus is saying, I'm the one that satisfies your spiritual hunger. Now, why is that? You might be thinking. Well, this is what Jesus says. Jesus says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. So let's break that down for a second. He starts with, I am the way. Now, I'm a big Star Wars fan. If you've watched Star Wars, you know about Luke Skywalker, who's the protagonist, who's on a quest to discover himself. He leaves everything behind, everything familiar to him, to go to a foreign planet to learn the ways of the Jedi. And he encounters Yoda. And Yoda asks him a question. He says, I'm wondering, why are you here? And Luke responds, I'm looking for someone. But have you thought about it? Why are you here? Can you think of a more important question? Like, why are you here? Like, what are you doing on this earth? In other words, where have I come from? Where am I heading? Who am I? What's the point of my life? Is there any meaning and purpose to my life? These are what we might call first order questions of life. And a lot of people spend a lot of their life trying to find some kind of ultimate meaning or purpose in life. I think of the great Russian novelist Leo Tolstoy, who wrote War and Peace. He also wrote another book called A Confession, in which he tells us about his life story. And he describes how as a child, he rejected Christianity. And he started this search for meaning and purpose in his life. And at first he thought, life's just about having a good time. Like life's just about having fun, YOLO, right? And so he enters into the social world of Moscow and St. Petersburg, and he drinks heavily. He was promiscuous. He basically led a wild life. And he found that lifestyle kind of left him empty. And he thought, well, you know what? Maybe it's money. Maybe it's money. Money's the answer. So he inherited a lot of money. And not only did he inherit a lot of money, he made a lot of money from the books that he sold. But he said that money was kind of like seawater. The more you drink it, the more thirsty you get. It just didn't satisfy him. So he thought, well, maybe it's fame, importance, success. Maybe if I'm successful, then I'll be happy. Well, the Encyclopedia Britannica describes his novel as one of the three greatest novels in the whole world of literature. And yet that didn't satisfy him. I was interested in thinking of the actor Jim Carrey when he said, I think everyone should get rich and famous and do everything they dreamed of so they can see that it's not the answer. And Tolstoy, he saw that it wasn't the answer. So he thought maybe it's all about the kind of relationships. Maybe it's marriage. Maybe it's family life. And so he got married, had a very happy family, had 13 children. Everyone looked at Tolstoy and they said, wow, you've got everything. You've got complete happiness. And yet he said that even in that instance, a question drove him almost to the verge of suicide. He asked, what meaning has my life that the inevitability of death does not destroy? And he started to think, and he thought, well, you know what? The philosophers have to have the answer. Scientists must have the answer. So he started doing research in every field of science and philosophy to answer the question, why do I live? And he came up with an answer. This was his answer. In the infinity of space and the infinity of time, infinitely small particles mutate with infinite complexity. Meaning, he didn't really find a satisfying answer to the question. And then he looked around his friends and his contemporaries, and they weren't even facing up to the question. So eventually, through all his searching, he found these very poor people in Russia that they had found the answer, and their answer was their faith in Jesus Christ. 100 years later, nothing has changed. Y'all know Michael Jackson, right? The king of pop, one of the most successful musicians to ever live, and arguably the most famous person to live after Jesus. In a conversation that he had with Rabbi Shmuley Boteach, he says this. He says, I'm going to say something I have never said before, and this is the truth. I have no reason to lie to you, and God knows I'm telling the truth. I think all my successes and fame, and I've wanted it. I've wanted it because I wanted to be loved. That's all. That's the real truth. I wanted people to love me, truly love me, because I never felt love. I said, I know I have ability, but maybe if I sharpen my craft, maybe people will love me more. I just wanted to be loved because I think it's very important to be loved and to tell people that you love them and to look at them in their eyes and say it. Michael Jackson, y'all. Michael Jackson, one of the most successful people to ever live, in the end, found himself lonely and wanting relationship. I remember going to the optometrist for the first time only to find out that I needed glasses. I remember them squirting that little solution they put in your eyes. It's horrible. They got to actually put me in a headlock to actually put on the solution. And I remember afterwards, they put this contraption in front of your face for you to look through, and you read the letters to determine your capacity to see and the prescription if you needed it. And I remember coming back to the office to pick up my glasses and putting them on for the first time. And as I put them on, it was like looking into a whole new world. Whole new world. It was like looking into a whole new world. I saw the leaves on trees. I saw the cracks on streets. It's like I'd never seen it. It was for the first time I was really seeing. That's kind of the difference that Jesus makes. When you see the world through Jesus, you see the world in a whole new way. C.S. Lewis said this. He said, I believe in Christianity as I believe that the sun has risen, not only because I can see it, but by it I see everything else. And to me, it's like Jesus is the lens through which we see God. He's the way to God. Also, he's the lens by which we see the world in a totally different dimension and clarity. That's what Jesus meant when he said, I am the way. But Jesus also says, I am the truth. You could say, well, that's great. If this relationship with Jesus gives you any kind of meaning and purpose in your life, then that's great for you. But it's not for me. Logically, my response to that is logically, that can't be the case, because if it is true, it's true for everyone. And if it's not true, then it's not great for me. So it really matters whether or not it's true. Again, C.S. Lewis puts it this way. He says, Christianity is a statement which, if it's false, is of no importance. But if it's true, is of infinite importance. The one thing that it can't be is of moderate importance. So this is the question. Is it true? Well, we're going to talk about this in more detail in the weeks to come as we journey through Alpha. But I'll tell you this, I'm no expert, but the evidence for Jesus is compelling. You'd be astonished by how much evidence there is for the life and the death and the resurrection of Jesus Christ. Yes, there are many highly intelligent atheists and agnostics and those people who don't believe or who doubt whether or not God exists. But there are just as many highly intelligent people who have looked at the evidence and have come to the conclusion that it is true. One former professor of modern history at Oxford University described the resurrection as the best attested fact in history. The great pioneers of modern science were believers: René Descartes, Isaac Newton, Johannes Kepler, Galileo Galilei, Copernicus, Faraday, Boyle, Mendel, Kelvin, Pasteur, Lister, Maxwell, Simpson. Or take one of the greatest scientists of our time. Take Francis Collins, who was the director of the Historic Human Genome Project, one of the most respected genetic biologists in the world. He talks about how he investigated the evidence and he was amazed at the historical evidence for Jesus Christ. And he described going out one day and looking at the beauty of creation, and then he knelt in the dewy grass and he gave his life to Jesus Christ. Cultural influences such as Martin Luther King, W.E.B. Du Bois, Cornel West were shaped by their faith. So now, when Jesus says, I am the truth, the Hebrew understanding of truth was not really just intellectual truth, but heart knowledge. In other words, it was a truth that was experienced. There's a difference between intellectual knowledge and heart knowledge. You can read about a person and have intellectual knowledge about that person. You can read a biography. You can watch a documentary on Netflix. Like, take, for example, Michael Jordan, right? We've heard all the stories of Michael Jordan, who's arguably the greatest competitive athlete of all time. You can watch the documentaries and the series, but there are those people who actually know him and have experienced him. When Jesus said, I am the truth, he was talking about the experience of truth, that we could have relationship with him and experience that Jesus. Not just that there's evidence for the resurrection, but that we can actually experience a relationship with the risen Jesus Christ. Yes, he is the way and he is the truth. But not only is he the way, not only is he the truth, but then he says, I am the life. He said, I've come that you may have life and have it in all its fullness. He said, I've come to deal with the stuff that stops us from having that, to deal with the bad stuff, the messed up stuff, the wrecked up stuff. He's saying, I came to stop those things in your life. Jesus came to deal with our guilt. And this is the amazing news, guys, that God loves you. It's the most important thing to take away from this course as you go through it, that you are loved. And he came in the person of his son, Jesus Christ, to die on the cross for you and for me. He took our guilt, our bad stuff. He took our place, your place, so that you can be free to enjoy the fullness of life. That's not to say that the Christian life is easy. It's hard. But this is the one thing I can tell you about the Christian life. It's that the Christian life isn't irrelevant. It isn't boring. It's not untrue. As a matter of fact, it's the most important thing you can ever do. And it's really exciting, y'all. I believe that not only is it true, it's relevant for our lives and those around us. Jesus is really the bread of life. He's the one who gives us meaning. He's the one who gives us purpose. He's the one who satisfies our hunger. Guys, there's so much to explore, and I want to encourage you to discuss, to have conversations about this. This is a really exciting thing for you to do, and for me to see that you do, that you journey in this, to discover who Jesus is, that he is the way, he is the truth, he is the life, and this relationship you can have with Jesus and to have a life in all of its fullness. Look forward to the conversation. God bless you.
Okay. All right. Well, I hope you all enjoyed that video. He shared a lot of information, a lot of interesting information that you will get a chance to talk about in your breakout rooms. So it is not too late for you to join us. If you want to join, you can go to alphamemphis.org and register to get the link to join us tonight. But we are going to definitely have a wonderful conversation this point forward in our breakout rooms. And if you're on any other live stream, you can continue to have conversation, interact, just discuss about some of those things that he said. And we look forward to seeing you in the breakout rooms if you're ready.